When the New York Knicks faced the Chicago Bulls in Game 6, they weren't thinking about their own elimination. No, these Knicks sensed something special about this improbable playoff run. Even the sight of Patrick Ewing limping off with a sprained ankle didn't mean the end. For the Knicks faithful, it rekindled memories of Willis Reed and that championship year when he found the courage to overcome injury. And in a similar inspired effort, Patrick Ewing rejoined the battle. And battle he did. He threw his will into his work and his wounded body into the opposition. And when it was done and he had nothing left to give, only then was he led away victorious. Now it's Michael Jordan and the Bulls who also face elimination. Can they find the courage and the championship effort needed to win? Or are we about to witness one of the greatest upsets in basketball history? Pat Riley and his Knicks believe it's possible. Today, for one of these teams, the title quest continues. For the other, time runs out.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1992 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the New York Knicks versus the Chicago Bulls.
This the scene at Chicago Stadium about 2 hours ago. Michael Jordan arriving for his most critical game of the year. And 20 minutes later, Patrick Ewing made his way to the biggest game of his 7-year NBA career. And despite the sprained ankle, does not appear to be limping. Yes, the season is on the line for the Knicks and the Bulls. A sellout crowd, 17,000, has turned out for the finale of this ferocious 7-game series. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello and Irvin Magic Johnson. Now, Magic, you have certainly seen Pat Riley at work under enormous pressure come playoff time. I know you spent some time with him earlier today. What did he tell his ball club for this 7th game?
Well, Coach Riley told his Knicks players that, hey, the pressure is on the Bulls to win this game. What they must keep doing is keep having fun and also stay loose. 3 things must happen for the Knicks if they're able to win this game. They have to keep playing good team defense, keep rebounding the basketball, and continue to keep the Bulls out of the lane.
And during the course of this stunning run by the Knicks, they have been able to take the 2 Chicago superstars, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, right out of their game. In fact, Mike, that's the major reason that we have come to a 7th and final game.
Well, no question that the superstars, Jordan and Pippen, have been affected by New York's defense, but in a different way because they're both trying. New York felt if they could control tempo and keep the shot attempts down, then they would keep the points down. If we look back during the regular season, this Chicago Bulls team averaged 87 shots a game, with Jordan and Pippen taking 39 of those shots. In this series in the playoffs, the Bulls averaging only 74 shots a game, down 13. Jordan and Pippen, 38, so it's almost the same, their contributions. Where they've been affected is in the field goal percentage. Regular season, Jordan at 52, Pippen at 51. In this series against New York in the playoffs, Jordan down to 47, Pippen all the way down to 37. So the bump and grind, the physicalness of the New York defense, it's taken its toll.
All right, this crowd appears to be ready here in Chicago. Coming up, the 7th and final game between the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls. So it has come down to this 7th final game of the Eastern Conference Semifinals series. Matt Nicholson, John Thompson have made their way to Chicago. And we are set for one of the electrifying scenarios in the world of sports. The introduction of the lineups here at Chicago Stadium. Here's the public address voice of the Bulls, Ray Clay.
Fans to the Chicago Stadium. Today's Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals is between the New York Knicks and your Chicago Bulls. Now for this afternoon's lineups. First for the visiting New York Knicks. At forward, from Virginia Union, 6'9", Charles Oakley. A 6'8" forward from Wichita State, Xavier McDaniel. At center, 7 foot from Georgetown, Patrick Ewing. At one guard from St. John's, 6'3", Mark Jackson. At the other guard, 6'6", from Tennessee, Chattanooga, Gerald Wilkins. The New York Knicks are coached by Pat Riley, assisted by Dick Harder, Paul Silas, and Jeff Van Gundy. The trainers, Mike Saunders. To the Bulls is Phil Jackson.
Well, our Ahmad Rashad spent time in both the Knicks and Bulls locker rooms earlier today for a report. Here's Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Marv. I visited both locker rooms. In the Knicks locker room, I found 12 players who are not only focused, but possessed with the fact that not only could they beat the Bulls, but they feel they can go on and win the NBA championship. In the other locker room, the Bulls were very loose, and you can tell that they were tired of answering all the questions of who, what, and why this series went to the 7th game. They all feel like this is the time they can prove that they are NBA champions, and they will get that opportunity momentarily. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, and the NBA with a very strong officiating crew to handle the proceedings. Jake O'Donnell, Hugh Hollins, and Ed T. Rush.
I think it's quite obvious by the years of experience that the NBA realizes the importance of this game. If you go back to the earlier game today, Cleveland-Boston, you had Jess Kersey, Hugh Evans, Joe Crawford, another very, very veteran crew working these important games.
And the players respect these 3 officials. So a lot of times when there's a lot of talking going on and a lot of bumping and grinding, and one of the referees say, hey, we got to cut this out, they will respect that, and you'll see a lot of guys quit all the chattering and bumping and grinding.
And this has been a series of flagrant fouls during the playoffs. The Knicks have ranked first in the league with 7 flagrants, 5 in this series alone.
On the jump ball situation, New York uses a very wide set. Ewing tries to tip straight ahead to Charles Oakley, and then they fly the X-Man and Gerald Wilkins trying to get a fast break right from the opening tap. There's their wide set.
Patrick Ewing, who says the sprained ankle is fine, going against Bill Cartwright. And Horace Grant, after adjusting the goggles, able to control the opening tip. Grant played by Oakley. Cartwright turning on Ewing, looking to go right at him. And here's Pippen on the penetration, finding Grant, and he blew the layup. Cartwright with the save. Jordan with the step, and he's fouled.
We've seen the aggressiveness right from the start by the Chicago Bulls. Michael saying no jumpers to start out with. Take the ball to the rim. Pippen took it to the rim, and the Bulls started out offensively like they like to do every game. Get it into Cartwright, see if the postman can score first, and obviously try to pick up an early foul versus Patrick Ewing.
The first 2 possessions, statement time. We're coming down the lane. We don't care how hard you foul us.
The foul committed by Charles Oakley. Michael Jordan, 45 minutes. Game 6 in New York Thursday. Only 9 for 25, 21 points. And Magic looks to be worn down. Certainly the Knick defensive effort, the fact they played him so physically, has contributed to that, but he does not look to be himself.
The minutes are taking a toll on him. The aggressive stolen.
Saw the aggressive play once again off that steal. Wilkins with a 3-on-1. Served up a facial on Bill Cartwright.
Well, both teams saying something there. Chicago, we're going to press. New York, we're going to attack.
Gone by. The game tied at 2. The interior pass from Jordan knocked away and a foul call. It's on Ewing.
To get back to that point of Michael Jordan, the minutes have really weighed heavy on him, but also the physical play of New York has taken its toll too. The best thing that happened for the Chicago Bulls is they had 2 days to rest.
Jordan. So the Bulls lead 4-2.
After scores, Chicago tries to get Grant up on the basketball to slow down the entry path. They don't want New York getting it up the floor quickly.
Patrick Ewing connects on his first field goal attempt, and the game is tied at 4.
When talking to Michael Jordan before the game, we said, Mike, some games you come out and get your teammates involved. Other days you try and get involved. It looks like today he's getting involved early.
Coach, Mike, we can't wait. He can't wait. This is game 7. You can't wait on your teammates.
Wilkins for 3. Gerald Wilkins in this playoff series has been hitting the outside shot. That not the case during the course of the regular season. The Knicks with a 7-4 advantage, and the Knicks have opened up by hitting their first 3 shots. Here is Jordan. So the Knicks lead is 1.
Again, Chicago up trying to get the ball out of their point guard's hands. Mark Jackson, give it to somebody else. Let them get it up the floor, but don't let Jackson start the half-court offense.
Yes, the Bulls' pressure has bothered the Knicks. They'll turn it on and off during the course of the game. Now Pippen starts back. Pippen for Grant. Chicago by 1.
That's that middle portion of Chicago's transition game. The first big man down the floor, posting up quickly.
Xavier McDaniels had a sensational playoff. Now being guarded by Horace Grant. Shot clock running down. Jackson. And the Knicks lead 9-8.
You know what, Marv? Usually the first quarter is important for the visiting team. But I believe today the first quarter is important for the Chicago Bulls to get off to a good start.
Cartwright fouled by McDaniel.
A few moments ago, Scottie Pippen coming down in the transition game. The size and the ability to put it on the floor, create off the dribble, find an open teammate under the basket. That's why he led this team for the season in assists.
Bill Cartwright has had his difficulties at the foul line. In the earliest stages of his career, a solid free throw shooter, but he has dropped off in recent years. He's tied the game at 9, and there's no question that the Bulls are looking to get Cartwright going earlier. That is their usual philosophy, but today even more so as they want to test Patrick Ewing.
Exactly. They want to get Patrick Ewing into foul trouble because they know once they get him on the bench, their job and their game will be a lot easier.
So the Knicks and the Bulls tied at 9, 3.5 gone by. Ewing from Oakley. 11, and the Knicks 9.
He done went coast to coast twice now. I don't think that ankle has bothered him one bit.
Ewing, Oakley, kept alive by McDaniel, and he's rejected. This game has opened at a furious pace.
Well, this is probably the fastest game in terms of in the first 4 or 5 minutes in the actual all the other 6 games. The pace is really quick.
Here's Ewing, and he's fouled by Cartwright. A hack on Cartwright, so that is his first personal that sends Ewing to the line.
Well, Pippen has that rare ability to take it off the glass, lead the fast break, and then if there's no decision, finish it at the end. Also, let's not look past the fact that pretty good defender comes from the blind side, gets the block versus the X-Man.
Patrick Ewing averaging 22 points in the series, although he has had his ups and downs. And the same for his work at the free throw line as he connects on 1 of 2, so the Knicks trail 11-10. The New York Knicks last advanced beyond the second round in 1973 when they won it all against the Los Angeles Lakers. Jordan. Bulls 13 and the Knicks 10. Fast start for Michael Jordan. He's hit 3 out of 4. He has 8 points.
And that was a little wrinkle that the Bulls have added now. Baseline screen by Cartwright to free up Jordan.
Cartwright with the box out. Jordan with the spin and the bucket. Bulls lead. Well, a moment ago we discussed the physical condition of Michael Jordan, who in Game 6 at the Garden looked to be fatigued. I asked Michael if he is worn down.
I was, before we took a day off, I was mentally drained in a sense that you have to keep raising your level of mental challenge towards this team. They challenge you in that way. That I was a little mentally drained, and the day off really helped to recuperate that. I think everybody was. You know, we wanted to win so bad. We probably lived on the expectations of everybody, saying that we should sweep this team, and when it wasn't a sweep, it became mentally draining for everybody to give yourselves up for the games.
You know what happens is superstars rise to the occasion. Yes, he was tired. He probably still tired today, but this is his time, 7th game.
McDaniel had a fire with the shot clock running down. The Knicks have missed their last 6 field goal attempts.
One of the most discouraging things to come out of a timeout when you're trying to regroup, you set something up, and all of a sudden you're facing 1 second left on the 24-second clock, and you have to hoist one up just to get it off.
The Bulls, in contrast, have hit their last 5, and they lead 15-10, 6:35 remaining in the first quarter. Jordan does not like the hand check from Wilkins, and a foul call. Now let's go to Ahmad Rashad for this report.
All right, Marv, during that last timeout, Pat Riley and his team were very calm and collected and calculating. And Paul Silas told me before the game that they expected the Bulls to come out and have a big wave of offense in the first quarter. If they could withstand that, then they'd have a chance to win the game. Marv?
Well, Ahmad, we're seeing that wave in Chicago in the midst of an 11-3 run, and you can see the tone of the Bulls is quite different here at the start, Mike. They're taking it to the basket instead of pulling up. On the turnover, Knicks have a 3-on-2.
No question. People have been saying that the physicalness of New York has made Chicago shy away from taking it to the rim. 5 times all the way to the rim so far in this game. Only once a pull-up jumper.
And Here's Jackson with the pull-up. Mark Jackson with his second field goal. The Bulls 15 and the Knicks 12. Grant setting the screen. Pippen for Grant. Played by Ewing. Now Pippen with the room. That may be a bad sign for the Knicks. Scottie Pippen hitting the jump shot. McDaniel, yes, and Xavier McDaniel with his first field goal. The Bulls 17 and the Knicks 14.
Well, yesterday in practice, Pippen didn't do very much as far as physical work, but he took almost 200 shots trying to get that stroke back.
And a reach-in foul called on the Knicks. That's number 2 on Wilkins, and it will send John Starks into the game early. Pat Riley looking down the bench. Darrell Wilkins has played Michael Jordan extremely well, and he will head to the bench. John Starks, not a popular figure here in Chicago, off that flagrant foul against Scottie Pippen late in the third quarter on Thursday.
I think John Starks is the type of player who loves that, though. He loves to be booed. He wants that because it makes him not have to play harder, and it brings out the best possible player in him. You'll see that today. He's going to be firing it up just like it was a normal game. He don't care about being booed.
Yeah, and we talk about Patrick Ewing. This might be the key person, John Starks for New York. In their 3 wins, he averaged over 18 points a game. In the 3 losses, just over 7 points per game. If he's firing and making shots, it's a different Knick team.
Bulls go to the pressure. Here's Ewing with the drop step, and it's rebounded by Pippen. Bulls on the run. Paxson shooting. Rebounded by Jordan. Grant. Oh, the Bulls all over the board. They lead 21-14. Here's Starks for 3. John Starks gets right to it.
I told you, he said, come on, boo me, baby, boo me, because I'm going to set you up with this 3-point shot.
Pat Riley refers to John Starks as feast or famine. Michael Jordan on fire. 5 out of 6. He has 14 points. John Starks has gone hot and cold during the course of the playoffs. That goes back to the series against Detroit. He had a hot one the other night, and Jackson was hit. John Starks in the 3 Knicks victories, shooting 51%, averaging 18 a game. However, in the 3 losses, you can see how he has gone the other way. Anthony Mason, who has played well in this series, has come on for the first time this afternoon. We're down to 4 minutes remaining. First quarter. Jackson with the step. Grant with the rejection.
Actually, Chicago leads New York in block shots in this series. They get it from 3 guys, Jordan, Pippen, and Grant.
Foul on Starks as Jordan cut right. Starks called for the hold.
Jackson will continue to go after Paxson. Therefore, the other Bulls must step up and cover for John Paxson. Mark Jackson, a little quicker, has the ability to get by him off the dribble. When you have guys behind you with that type of athleticism and the quickness to get over there, they protect the rim.
You know, to me, it looked like Michael is saying, hey, I must shoot at least 25 to 30 shots today. This has been the most aggressive of any of the games, all 6 of the games that Michael has been. I mean, from the beginning of the tap to now. So he looked like he's going to take the weight on his shoulder right now.
Right, he is not taking the passive route, as he indicated was a possibility in order to get everybody involved. Michael Jordan, though, has had some strong first hands in this series. Mason was tripped up by Cartwright away from the ball. Separates the 2.
The body's down low, working to get the little hold, the grab, the push, the shove, and this is what Jake O'Donnell was trying to clear up right away. Talking to both players, knock it off, we won't stand for that.
You got the 3 best referees. I mean, They're not going to stand for any of this chattering.
And Patrick Ewing able to cut that Chicago lead to 25-19. 3:20 remaining in the first quarter.
And as Ahmad said a short while ago, New York just wants to stay close enough in this first quarter so that the Bulls don't pull away too far and then get back in the game.
Horace Grant off to a terrific start. He's done it on the boards, and he's done it offensively. 3 field goals, 6 points. Bulls 27, and the Knicks 19. McDaniel posting up and faces up. Called for an offensive foul. That's number 2 on the X-Man. The timeout was called. Both clubs going at each other. Michael Jordan and Xavier McDaniel having words. Double technicals were called on McDaniel and Jordan.
What we said a moment ago down on the baseline foul that Jake O'Donnell was stepping in to send the message. This is step number 2 in the message sending process. The next one, someone's going to be ejected from this basketball game, which is a very serious step.
Jake O'Donnell does not mess around. You're messing with the wrong referee if you're going to be messing with Jake O'Donnell. He will talk somebody. He doesn't care if it's the 7th game. If he warns you one time, the second time, you're out of here.
Let's go to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Marv, yesterday I was speaking with Scottie Pippen, and he's starting to feel the pressure that everybody telling him to step up and be ready to play. He was so focused yesterday that he would not be intimidated. He said he'll be driving the basket like the Pippen of old, and you can see he's ready to play. Marv?
And the Bulls have been ready here at the start. They lead 27-19. Starks with the steal. Ron Starks spent all day on Wednesday shooting the jump shot. He said he took about 300 shots, and he credits assistant coach Jeff Van Gundy for an adjustment in his release, which turned things on Thursday night. Shot clock at 3 as Mark Jackson hits on his 3rd field goal. Starks saying that the ball was resting too much on the palm of his hands, and he made that adjustment. Meanwhile, Pippen is hit hard, and he'll go to the line.
Let me say this. Scottie Pippen, for the first time, is taking the challenge. He's not stepping backwards. Right here, he goes to the hole. He's saying, okay, I'm going to challenge everybody. I don't care. You can throw me down, knock me down. Going forward instead of going backwards.
Magic, of course, your Laker club of recent years was more of a finesse team, but when you went up against the Bulls last season, was the same philosophy intact, that if you can get to Pippen early and hit him hard, that you might take him out of the game?
Well, we wanted to do that, but we didn't have the type of players that could do that. New York, that's their style, because they have the type of players with that mentality that can do that.
Is there the feeling that he can be intimidated?
Well, that's the feeling that you want to play him physical. Push him around because he doesn't like the physical game.
Patrick Ewing cutting it to a 5-point Chicago lead. 1 minute and 40 remaining in the first quarter. Here's Cartwright to the fadeaway. Way off.
Bill trying to use the 24-second clock for a little added edge there, banking it off the clock.
Mason is fouled. So Anthony Mason will go to the line. Foul charge to John Paxson. B.J. Armstrong will check in, along with Cliff Levingston.
You know, Coach, Chicago has gone to a different strategy than any of the other games. They're posting up Michael more than trying to get him out on a 1-4 type situation, because they feel that he can take the smaller guards and Wilkins and then Starks.
In the other games, they got him down in there, but later on in the game, as you're mentioning, they're doing it right from the beginning here and using a little baseline screen by the 5-man, because Ewing's not going to switch off on him to help free him up flashing in there. Normally, they just send him on his own, try to flash him into the post.
So you can see that both coaches have made slight changes in their offense to free up different guys.
And despite this early flurry by the Bulls, the Knicks able to hang in. That's been the story throughout the series. The Bulls now lead by 3. Jordan through the foul. Oh, what a move by Michael Jordan, who has come out and hit 5 out of 7 from the field, 6 for 6 from the line for 16 points. The foul called on Starks.
Well, if you let Michael Jordan get to the paint, and this is one of the things that Ryan and the Knicks were focusing on, keep him out of that paint area. Everybody else, besides the man guarding him, pay special attention. When he puts it down, come and get him.
But Marv, like you were saying, the Knicks, hey, they can feel good right now. They're only down 3 points. Chicago has been in the penalty for the last since 5 minutes on to the end of this quarter. So, hey, if they can go down only 5 points at the end of this quarter, they've done a wonderful job.
It is now a 4-point Chicago lead. Michael Jordan has had the hot hand during the course of the first half in this series, but you can see in the second half only 27 for 71. 38%, had a 3 for 13 in the second half in New York on Thursday. Light pressure being shown by the Bulls.
And the Bulls have used 2 of their traps already. The full court one up on the ball and the 3-quarter one. Once they get it in, they still are holding back the half-court trap.
Shot clock at 8. Ewing. Rebound Oakley. And it jarred loose. And Ed Rush with the call saying last touch by the Knicks. Knicks were looking for a jump ball at the very least.
I don't know how you make that call. You got 2 guys rolling all over the floor, diving for loose balls, and loose balls may in the end be the difference in this game. Oakley, Livingston, the rest of the players coming in after it now. First one that touches it, that touches the out-of-bounds line, that's how they're going to call it.
Yes, I think that what he said that Mason had his foot out of bounds when he touched the ball, so that made a Chicago ball.
Jordan given room and was surprised.
That's the most room Michael Jordan's had in about 2.5 weeks.
It was too easy. It was too easy.
Down to 25 seconds in the quarter. Ewing feeling the contact. So Patrick Ewing has been off. 3 for 7 for Ewing. Starks with the steal. Starks out of control with the dribble. Able to recapture. Final seconds of the first quarter. That pass intended for Starks. Here's Ewing to the fadeaway. So that's the end of one here in Chicago. Michael Jordan has been the spark. Jordan with 18 points in this first quarter. And the Bulls lead by 5. Back in Chicago, Marv Albert, along with Mike Fratello, Magic Johnson, Ahmad Rashad. It is awfully tough to repeat in the NBA. A Chicago Bulls team that won 67 and lost 15 during the regular season, trying to make it 2 in a row.
Well, I guess if there's anybody that should know about how difficult it is to get a back-to-back championship, it's our guy Magic here.
It took us 3 7-game series to win the back-to-back championship, and it might take that for the Chicago Bulls, you know, but they got enough to worry about right here with the Knicks.
John Starks continuing his strong play. The Bulls lead by 3 as we get underway in the second quarter. E.J. Armstrong being guarded by Mark Jackson. Illegal defense called on the Knicks. Bill Cartwright was requesting the call and was upset, and he finally got it from Hugh Hollis.
Well, Oakley had went over and double team and then get back. You know, after the team that's leading in the first quarter has won all 6 games. Are you kidding me? Wow.
Winning that first quarter pretty important so far.
Ooh. So that means Chicago gonna win today?
You want to go home now?
Oh, very friendly rim for Michael Jordan. 20 points for Jordan. The Bulls lead 32-27. Once again, the Bulls trap. Ewing is foul.
Cliff Livingston, anticipating the pass to the post, just stood there as his man cut through, waited for Patrick Ewing to turn back to the baseline side, and all of a sudden he was in a double team, and probably the quickest one he's seen in a long time.
You know what it looked like to me is that Patrick Ewing can run straight up and down, but when he tries to get the lift for the baseline jumper, he's not getting it. You have to get lift when you shoot the turnaround jumper like he does, and today he's not getting the lift on his shot, and it seemed like that ankle is not giving him that push that he needs to get his shot up, because everything is going short on his shot, and that's what tells that when you're not getting your lift.
And Ewing does not have a rebound, so that may be another telling point. He suffered the sprain left ankle in Game 6. It's called a moderate sprain. And the foul called on Greg Anthony, the rookie from Nevada, Las Vegas, checking in a moment ago. Anthony has been very effective against the Chicago pressure, and undoubtedly that's why Pat Riley has him in there. Mark Jackson sitting down. Now Patrick Ewing will get a rest. Xavier McDaniel has returned, so Charles Oakley moves over to the center position.
And actually, Cliff Livingston first warned the official as Greg Anthony ran into his first screen in the backcourt, and then when he did it again, the whistle blew.
Yes, and a count. Anthony picks up his second. Michael Jordan has taken over this game. He has 22 points. The Bulls now lead by 5.
And you can see the special attention that Jordan draws. 3 Knicks waiting for him in the lane, but when he gets that deep, the way he can elevate with his tremendous concentration, and there is no question that with the 2 days rest, he has come out here today. He is a different looking Michael Jordan than the one that we saw in Game 6.
The Bulls 35, the Knicks 29, and here's pressure again by Chicago. Now they drop back.
Magic mentioned earlier that the 2 days off for both teams was the big blessing. The first 6 games of this series played in 10 days, a very short period of time.
McDaniel, yes, Xavier McDaniel with a good move, his second field goal, and the Knicks trail the Bulls by 4.
With Patrick Ewing on the bench, look for the Knicks to go to McDaniel, also Mason and Starks to do most of the shooting out on that basketball court for the Knicks.
Off the turnover, Mason starts back. Mason picked up by Scott Williams, who just checked in.
What you had there was a player trying to do something that's not his strength. Cliff Livingston does not elevate and drop down passes at the last second. Michael Jordan and Pippen do those things.
Here's McDaniel, rebounded by Williams. Pippen's pass picked off by Starks.
John Starks has made 2 big steals so far in this game.
And Starks with 7 points, and he has brought the Knicks within 2.
Marv, he stole it when they had a 3-on-1 Michael Jordan in the first quarter. This time they had a 2-on-1. He come up with another big steal. Boy, he can do it on both ends of the court.
And Jordan had a knocked away recovery by Armstrong. E.J. Armstrong came up very big here in Chicago with 18 points off the bench earlier in the series. Armstrong for Pippen. The Bulls 39 and the Knicks 33.
See, Greg Anthony, when he's double-teamed, he cannot make that pass because he's too little to make that cross-court pass like he tried to do then.
Blocking foul on Scott Williams. And a timeout has been called by the Bulls. 8:40 to go in this first half. Of the NBA draft lottery, some refer to it as the Shaquille O'Neal sweepstakes. Incidentally, earlier this week out in L.A., Ahmad Rashad, taping a segment for Inside Stuff, played some one-on-one with Shaquille O'Neal, and they ran into a little problem. Let's take a look. Ahmad, I know you enjoyed the moment.
And what a moment it was. That was my highlight, shooting that jumper. Yes. But I got a chance to see up close just how powerful this young man is. But Magic taught me how to play, and that's the reason I got that jump shot in. But the score was 1-1. That's all I know.
I hear Scott Williams. Scott Williams showing the outside touch. Bulls lead 41-33. Magic, I know that you have been working out from time to time with Shaquille O'Neal.
Very impressed with him, especially how strong he is and his footwork. He's really a young man that somebody's going to be very happy drafting. He's going to be a superstar in our league.
Oakley to the line. He was hit by Williams. You won the lottery, and there's Alonzo Mourning, who will certainly be among the first to be selected. If your club won the lottery, you're in charge. Who do you take?
Shaquille O'Neal, without a doubt. I think anybody would be happy with Alonzo Mourning and Christian Laettner. Those are your first 3 draft choices. And Jimmy Jackson, it depends too. But this is the deepest draft it's been for years.
With both of these teams having their reserve players on the floor right now for significant minutes, obviously the productivity becomes so important. Pat Riley a number of times has said when that combination of Anthony, Mason, and Starks, he said sometimes it's feast, sometimes it's famine with those 3. And that's what you have to, play your way through it, see what happens, and then substitute accordingly.
And Pat Riley has gone basically with an 8-man rotation. We've seen very little of Tiki Vandeweghe during this series. Cliff Livingston wide open, crowd reacting. Williams not looking that way. Shot clock at 3. Hodges for 3. Greg Hodges, the three-point specialist, has been a factor in this series. Chicago has hit its last 6 from the floor. Overall, 16 of 23. They've had a red-hot first half. Here's Wilkins, who just returned. Traveling, violation.
See, on that last shot, that last 3-pointer by Craig Hodges, Wilkins forgot who he was guarding. He was guarding Hodges. He left to stop the penetration by Armstrong, and that left Hodges wide open. You don't do that. You let the big man take care of BJ, not Wilkins.
That's why there must be constant communication when substitutions take place during the game, so everybody understands what they have to do.
Biggest lead of the game. Chicago up by 9. 6:50 to go. First half. Here's Anthony. Rebound, McDaniel. McDaniel with a good second effort. Bulls 44 and the Knicks 37. The winner of this game, the 7th and final game of the series, will face the Cleveland Cavaliers for the conference championship. Cleveland knocking off Boston earlier today. For Pat Riley and his New York Knicks, it has been a superb season. They went 51-31, but they faltered at the end of the season. I asked Pat, at any point with that slow finish, did they sense that this was a special team?
Well, not really. I never looked at it that way. We never set any real goals about division titles or playoffs or anything like that. We just kept hammering on the fact that we wanted to become the hardest working, best conditioned, most professional and selfish, and disliked team in the league, and I think we finally accomplished the last point.
Most disliked team in the league. That because of the sledgehammer image this club has suddenly garnered because of their physical play.
Marv, not only that though, because they play good defense. See, teams don't like to play teams that play good defense, and now they were always playing good defense during the regular season, but now the hard fouls just came in the playoffs. So teams just don't like to play you because they have to work hard to beat you.
And here's Mason with the box out, and he draws the foul. Anthony Mason will go to the line. You can see how the Knicks have done it at the defensive end. They were number 2 behind Detroit during the regular season, allowing just under 98 per game. But then against the Pistons, allowed just under 85. And this series, they have stopped the high-flying Chicago Bulls over the first 6 games, allowing just under 90 per game.
Well, they've accomplished all the mini goals that Pat Riley has set up for this team in this series versus Chicago, one of which was reduce the number of shots, keep the offensive rebounds down, stop the transition game by the Bulls, and they've done it effectively.
It's the Bulls 44 and the Knicks 39. Michael Jordan has been the story in the first half. He has 23 points. Here's Hodges on that quick release. That's a 2-point shot for Craig Hodges.
Another mistake by one of the Knicks players. You cannot go up under the pick on Craig Hodges. You got to go over the top and make him drive to the basket. He doesn't want to drive, and he won't drive.
Last touch by Pippen. Knicks will maintain possession. Meanwhile, offensively, Patrick Ewing has not been able to get into it. Only 3 for 9 from the field, 3 out of 4 from the line. He has 9 points. Holding foul called on the Bulls.
Whether you are Chicago or New York, if you decide you're running a pick and roll, those centers, and you involve your center, obviously, in the play, those centers defensively, they don't jump out half-heartedly. They're jumping out hard. There's a wall there when you come off that thing, trying to discourage the guards from turning the corner, getting in the lane area.
Chicago now being hurt by the fouls. They've got over the limit. Knicks 9 for 10 from the line. 5:38 remaining in this first half. The Bulls lead by 6.
Well, I guess it's turnabout fair play. In the first quarter, Chicago was in the penalty at about the same time, 5 minutes to go to the quarter. Now New York has the penalty going their way, 5 minutes to halftime.
And the Knicks with only 2 team fouls. Grant try to go the reverse. Mason getting position, but facing the double team, and he's tied up. Good defensive play by Chicago and doubling up on Anthony Mason.
Now, since this jump ball will be under the New York basket, and the loss of the ball right there enables Chicago to get back, recover, and force the jump, you have to cover shoulders under the basket. They covered Ewing on both sides, left and right. No layup on the tip.
Wilkins picked off by Grant. Jordan. Michael Jordan, 25 points. He's hit 8 of 11. Bulls 48. Knicks 41. Wilkins and Anthony now in the backcourt. Ewing up front with McDaniel and Mason. Here's Wilkins for 3. And back comes Pippen. Hodges from downtown. Pippen had it knocked away. It'll be Chicago ball.
Magic, pretty soon they're going to start listening to you about leaving Hodges alone out there. Remember what he can do.
Well, that time the defense went back up under the paint to guard the basket and left Craig Hodges wide open. And he, for the first time in this game, in this series, he rushed the shot. He rushed it that time on a 3-pointer.
Mark Jackson is back for Greg Anthony. Oh, good look from Jordan. Grant from Jordan. The Bulls again have a 9-point lead.
I guess sometimes when a player can come out and get 18 points in a quarter, you pay special attention and forget about the other guys a little bit.
Here's Mason. Rebound McDaniel. Crowd looking for a travel. Bulls lead 50-43, and this game is being played at the Chicago Bulls tempo, and that's the first time that it's occurred this series.
Yes, it's a 7 game. Everybody's just excited. It's the excitement more than anything else.
Michael Jordan a moment ago with the ball is going to penetrate the lane. Somebody's got to step up and stop him. So the decision takes place behind him as to who's going to take Horace Grant. The result, nobody takes him. Grant with the deuce.
So Michael Jordan doing it with his offense and also the beautiful lead pass thrown to Horace Grant. That last foul on Gerald Wilkins, his third, and he's replaced by John Starks. And now Starks will take a crack at Jordan. McDaniel for Starks. 3:20 remaining in the half. Bulls with the ball and a 7-point lead. Pippen passing on the three, hits the two, and he is 4 of 4 for 9 points. The Bulls lead 52-43, and the Knicks want to talk it over.
This is Bob Costas at the studios of NBA Entertainment in Secaucus, New Jersey, and coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll bring you the NBA Draft Lottery. At stake, the rights for one of the 11 teams in the lottery to select LSU's Shaquille O'Neal if they should be so inclined. And the order of selection in any case, 1 through 11, will be determined for the June 24th NBA Draft. This now is a videotaped look at the mechanism which is used to determine the winner. Awe-inspiring, isn't it? Right now, let's head back to Chicago and rejoin Marv, Mike, and Magic.
All right, Bob. We have Bizarre the Telestrator mesmerized by the flow of the ping pong ball. Magic a moment ago as both clubs broke for the timeout. A little extracurricular activity between Pippen and Starks.
Well, it took Pippen 6 games to finally hit back, and he started to hit back because he's feeling good right now. The Bulls are leading.
Shot clock at 5. 2:45 remaining in this first half. Pippen with a steal. Here's Jordan. Yes. Biggest lead of the game. It's Chicago by 11.
In previous games, New York has been in similar situations. Wiley's taking a timeout. They come out, respond, get a basket or 2 free throws, close the gap. Here, a critical turnover. It continues to widen the lead.
Starks with an air ball. Ewing for Starks. Shot clock at 1. Jackson. Mark Jackson with the shot clock running down, able to hit. The Bulls lead 54-45. For the first time this season, for this first time this series, we are seeing the Chicago Bulls that we saw right throughout the regular season. 3-second violation called on Chicago. This is a Bulls club that set a franchise record, winning 67, losing 15. They won 36 of 41 here at home. They come off the NBA championship season of a year ago, capped off by the victory over the Los Angeles Lakers, swept Miami in the first round of the playoffs, but they have had a very difficult time against this surprising New York Knicks club.
Well, Marv, I think that if anybody read Peter Vessey's column, our own NBC's Peter Vessey, Tuesday, I think he summed it up best, where he said that the Bulls quite don't know how to play physical and still be a finesse team, much like the Lakers and the Celtics of the 80s. Their teams, when they were challenged and played physical, we knew how to play physical but still played our game at the same time. Where in this series, Chicago, for the first time today, is finally playing physical, but still playing finesse at the same time. And I thought that was an interesting article.
You realize how much credibility you have just given to Vessey? This is very sad.
I didn't mean to do it.
Okay.
But I thought that summed this whole series up, that article. It was just right on the head. He hit it right on the head.
And going back to your Laker team, that team had great flexibility to be able to play a little of both. It's not like you can push a button and all of a sudden take 12 guys and say, we're going to be finesse or we're going to be physical. You have to structure it to what the players' abilities are, capabilities are.
That last foul on Conrad is third, so he's replaced by Will Perdue. Will Perdue very active in Game 6 against the Knicks. Got into a little scrap at the end of the game. Here's Michael Jordan. He now has 29 points, and the Bulls lead 56-46.
Just by Grant jumping on the basketball after a score by Chicago, they're preventing New York from racing it back up.
Patrick Ewing.
You know, I think in the second half, they're going to have to, the Knicks, Pat Riley is going to have to change his strategy. Well, right now, he's got man-to-man coverage on Michael, and he's posting. And I think he's going to have to go down and double-team him in the second half.
It's a last resort in New York's game plan. Try to play him straight up, even if he gets on a little roll.
Rare miss for Jordan. 10 of 15 from the field. Starks digging hard. Won't count, says Jake O'Donnell. Will not get the continuation. Starks foul.
Now imagine going back to that philosophy in New York to play him straight up. That's not to say that as you progress in the game and get to the third quarter and then the fourth quarter and then the final 5 minutes that you don't make your adjustments and your changes.
Well, right now you're seeing in New York a different Michael Jordan. Here today, a stronger Michael Jordan and a Michael Jordan who has, I think, adjusted to the 6 games and say, okay, in the 7th game, they've been doing this for 6 games, but in this game, I'm going to do this, where he's posting and turning in the lane, and actually, all he's doing is jumping over Starks. He's doing nothing else but doing that, and I think they're going to have to run a man at him, maybe when he gets in the lane.
Paxson, who committed the foul to put Starks on the line, picked up his 3rd. He's replaced by Craig Hodges. Incidentally, the NBA playoff record, most points in a half, 39 by Eric Sleepy Floyd. Jordan has 29. Here's Grant, changed his mind. Jordan and Ewing able to reach out for it. And we're down at 25 seconds left in the half. The Knicks down by 7.
Even with the excitement, this crowd, and what Chicago and Jordan have done, if New York scores, you're looking right at a 5-point game. New York's got to feel pretty good.
And Jackson hit on the reach-in. So Mark Jackson to the line. He was fouled by Craig Hodges. Jackson to the line for the first time. Earlier today here on NBC, the Cavaliers knocked off the Celtics 122-104 to take the series in 7. They await the winner between the Knicks and the Bulls. Brad Daugherty capping off a terrific series with 27 points, 9 rebounds. Hot Rod Williams had 20. Reggie Lewis led Boston with 22. 22nd timeout is being taken by the Knicks.
Don't be surprised to see John Paxson come on the floor if Phil decides to make that type of move so that he has a number of 3-point shooters to surround the outside of the floor. Then give the ball to either a Pippen or Jordan, let him dribble, penetrate, create, kick back out for a 3 to send the crowd into a frenzy and give the team a little boost to end this first half. With 11.8 seconds remaining, that is so much time for the Bulls to advance the basketball off the dribble.
And Pat Riley is sending in Kennard Winchester, a man who has seen very little action during the course of the regular season. Kennard Winchester, second-year player from Averett College, had shots with Houston and Boston. Winchester in there because of some Knick foul trouble. Jackson will shoot his second. 11 seconds to go. First half. The lottery coming up at halftime. And so it is only a 5-point Chicago lead. Knicks do have 1 foul to give, and there it is. And a good foul because now the Bulls will have to regroup and inbound again with 6 seconds on the clock.
And that's the reason also for the substitution in case it got into the hands of the man that Winchester was guarding. You don't care if he picks a personal foul. Now they will go back and draw up what they want to run here with just over 6 seconds remaining.
The Knicks very fortunate, as you mentioned, Mike, to be only down by 5 when you consider Michael Jordan just burning it up in this first half with 29 points. Chicago is led by as many as 11. Chicago shooting 59% for the half, 22 of 37.
Pippen loves to inbound the ball and then follow his pass. He's the most dangerous guy on the out-of-bounds plays for Chicago. The guy guarding Pippen has to stay awake. Don't fall asleep. He'll chase it.
Final seconds. Jordan swinging free and missed on the floater.
Oh, yeah, I did forget about a guy named Jordan.
So Michael Jordan with 29 points. And the Chicago Bulls lead the New York Knicks by the score of 56-51. Halftime of the 7th and final game. Stay tuned for Bob Costas from NBA Entertainment Headquarters as we will present the NBA Draft Lottery.
Michael Jordan with 29 points, though he missed his last 3 shots from the floor. And despite yielding the 29 to Michael, the Knicks, led by Patrick Ewing's 14, trailing by only 5, 56-51. The winner gets the Cleveland Cavaliers in the next round. The Cavs over the Celtics in Game 7 earlier today, 122-104. Bob Costas at the NBA Draft Lottery, being held this year in the studios of NBA Entertainment in Secaucus, New Jersey. The NBA Draft itself will take place on June 24th in Portland. Today, the order of selection in the draft has been determined by the lottery. Here's a little background. The lottery was instituted in 1985 in part to remove the appearance of teams with poor records losing intentionally in order to secure a high pick in the draft based solely on order of finish. So what's at stake in this year's draft? Well, in some years it's not exactly clear which player will be taken with the first pick. Not so this time. Barring the unforeseen, the first selection will almost certainly be LSU's Shaquille O'Neal.
He's amazing. And the thing I like about him, too, is that he can run up and down the basketball court, and you can give it to him on the run, and he can make a good decision.
If he does the things he's supposed to do, after watching him play, I think he's the best player we have, other than Michael Jordan, of course. Yeah. But I think once he gets in the league and gets established, he's going to be the same type of player. He won't be as flashy, but he's right up there with the best of all of them right now.
People out there that have a lot of expectations, and I'm not going to come into the league and try to rush anything. I'm just going to take 1 year at a time, and hopefully I'll become a great player.
All 11 of the lottery teams have said they would select O'Neal if given the chance. Other prominent players sure to go in the first few picks are Georgetown's Alonzo Mourning, Duke's Christian Laettner, and Ohio State's Jimmy Jackson. Now, perhaps as much interest surrounds this draft lottery as any since the first one back in 1985. That was the year, you may recall, in which the Knicks won the lottery and selected Patrick Ewing with the #1 pick. Right now, here's a review of the rules and an explanation of how the draft lottery works, and pay attention. The 11 teams that didn't qualify for the playoffs all have a shot at the #1 pick. That's Minnesota, Orlando, Dallas, Denver, Washington, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Charlotte, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Houston. The Bucks and Hornets finished with identical records, and a special draw held at the conclusion of the regular season determined that Milwaukee gets one more ball than Charlotte. If neither team winds up in the top 3, then the Bucks select before the Hornets. The NBA uses a weighted system which increases the chances of the teams with the worst records getting the top picks. The Timberwolves will have 11 chances out of 66 for the top pick, each chance represented by a ball. Orlando gets 10 chances, one more than Dallas, and so on down to Houston, which has 1 chance in 66. The balls are placed in a clear cylinder. They will be mixed and then drawn to the top. The first to emerge from the cylinder will represent the first pick in the draft. The second non-duplicate ball will get the second pick, and the third non-duplicate ball, the third pick. The order of selection for the remaining 8 teams will be determined by inverse order of their regular season records. This guarantees the team with the worst record, Minnesota, of no lower than the 4th overall pick. Okay, the actual drawing has just been conducted in a separate room under the supervision of NBA Deputy Commissioner Russ Granick. The process was witnessed by representatives of the 11 lottery teams, different representatives from the individuals sitting here. Also there was Phil Laskaway, a partner in the international accounting firm of Ernst & Young. Mr. Laskaway is the only person in this studio who knows the results, including Commissioner David Stern. Immediately following the drawing, Mr. Laskaway took the logo for each lottery team and placed it into a numbered envelope corresponding to that team's position in the 1992 draft. Since then, Mr. Laskaway, and I swear this is true, has retained exclusive custody of the envelopes, which he has just placed in order on the numbered board. The sealed envelopes will be opened shortly by Commissioner Stern. But first, here are the team representatives. From the Houston Rockets, General Manager Steve Patterson. From the Atlanta Hawks, General Manager Pete Babcock. Representing the Philadelphia 76ers, their GM, Gene Shue. Now, the Charlotte Hornets won the lottery last year, took Larry Johnson. He wound up being the Rookie of the Year. I'm told that all the Charlotte representatives, including their head coach, Alan Bristow, stayed in the same hotel, tried to go to the same restaurants, dressed the same way, whatever, to try and duplicate their luck, and there's Alan Bristow. The Milwaukee Bucks are represented by their new head coach, Mike Dunleavy. From the Sacramento Kings, the Director of Player Personnel, Jerry Reynolds. From the Washington Bullets, General Manager John Nash. Representing the Denver Nuggets, GM Bernie Bickerstaff. From the Dallas Mavericks, the President and owner Donald Carter. Howdy, Don. From the Orlando Magic, GM Pat Williams. And finally, representing the Minnesota Timberwolves, their President, Bob Stein. Commissioner Stern will open the envelopes representing the selection order 11 through 1. Keep in mind that since slots 4 through 11 are determined by inverse order of regular season finish, and only the first 3 positions are determined by the lottery, if Houston, for example, doesn't come up 11th, or Atlanta doesn't come up 10th, and so on, it means that team has defied the odds and lucked into one of the top 3 selections. And now to announce the order of the first 11 picks of this year's NBA draft, here's the Commissioner, David Stern.
Good afternoon and welcome to the NBA Draft Lottery. Everyone has been briefed on the lottery procedures, so let's get started and see who picks where in the 1992 NBA Draft. The 11th pick goes to the Houston Rockets.
As expected, they had 1 ball out of 66, so no disappointment really for Steve Patterson.
The 10th pick goes to the Atlanta Hawks.
And form holding so far.
The 9th pick goes to the Philadelphia 76ers.
Charles Barkley said if they don't get one of the top 2 picks, they should trade him unless they get Mourning or O'Neal.
The 8th pick goes to the Milwaukee Bucks.
That means that Charlotte has moved up. Charlotte has one of the top 3 picks.
The 7th pick goes to the Sacramento Kings. The 6th pick goes to the Washington Bullets.
Everything is held according to statistical probability except Charlotte, which has moved into the first 3 picks.
The 5th pick goes to the Denver Nuggets. The 4th pick goes to the Dallas Mavericks.
Orlando, Minnesota, and Charlotte.
Must be the shoes and not the hat. And now the first 3 picks in the 1992 NBA Draft. The 3rd pick in the 1992 NBA Draft goes to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Orlando and Charlotte.
The 2nd pick.
Pat Williams, the colorful former GM of the Philadelphia 76ers, has been with the Orlando Magic from the inception of the franchise, and now his team owns the #1 pick in the June 24th draft. We'll talk with Pat right after this message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. Just been held. This is the GM of the Orlando Magic. I don't know if this is the very ball, but one of these Orlando Magic ping pong balls came up with the #1 pick. I see you're already holding the jersey.
Well, we got a jersey #1 on it.
And what does it say on the back?
There says O'Neal.
It says O'Neal. Obviously,
with a 1.
Obviously, you would like to take Shaquille O'Neal. You're telling me you will take Shaquille O'Neal despite the possible problems in signing him?
Well, we'll get him signed. I'm sure at some point he's a terrific talent, and Orlando's a great market and a great city. We got a good nucleus, and to get a player like O'Neal is a pretty unique opportunity. We'll talk to him, obviously, and want to bring he and his family to Orlando, and we've got about 5 weeks to work on that. But it's an exciting time for us, Bob. To win something like this is very special for our franchise.
You'd have a chance to reunite him with his LSU teammate, Stanley Roberts,
well,
right?
they'd take up a lot of room. They would blot out the sun on a lot of days. They're an enormous pair, but you never, just like in baseball, you never enough pitching in basketball. You never have enough big people. So to have an opportunity to get 2 young big men like that is pretty unique for us.
So you foresee a Twin Towers situation?
Well, I'm not sure all the time. I'll let Matty Gukas and his staff worry about that. I think at this point, if you have talent, you figure out a way to use it. And O'Neal is a remarkable talent. Stanley Roberts is a very special young big man prospect, too.
What about the possibility of trading Shaquille O'Neal? There has been talk, and he's tried to soft pedal it in the last few days, but talk that he might be so difficult to sign that he might try to force a trade to a location of his choice.
Well, obviously, one of the things that we have done with all the interviews of players that we've drafted over the years, Bob, point blank, do you want to play for our franchise? We've asked them that point blank, and we'll do the same with Shaquille.
You know, it's another interesting thing. I know you feel your own exhilaration here, but Charlotte had the #1 pick last year. They got Larry Johnson. You take O'Neal, they can get Alonzo Mourning. What a team they're building.
Well, they got a terrific break today. I think as the lottery really fell out today, there was one out-of-the-ordinary event today, and that was Charlotte, who should have been, what, 7th or whatever, and they plunk up there at 2, so they would have a choice of Mourning or Leitner or a lot of different people, and with Larry Johnson and Gill and the young club they're building, I'd say this is a very special day for Charlotte, too.
Pat Williams of the Orlando Magic, congratulations.
Thank you, Robert.
You told me before the selection, save this seat, I'll be right up.
That's right.
And you turned out to be prophetic. Here is the review now of the lottery selection. The first pick to the Orlando Magic, the second pick, the Charlotte Hornets, third pick, Minnesota Timberwolves, who had the best statistical possibility of getting the first pick. They settled for the third. The fourth goes to Dallas, the fifth to Denver, the sixth to the Washington Bullets, the seventh to the Sacramento Kings, the eighth to Milwaukee. There's the Pat Williams reaction, which you're going to see in just a moment. We have it on replay. What did I say? Eighth to Milwaukee, the ninth to the Philadelphia 76ers, the 10th to the Atlanta Hawks, and the 11th pick, as expected, to the Houston Rockets. They had only one chance in 66 of nabbing the #1 selection. And we'll return with second half action. The Bulls over the Knicks, 56-51. There's that reaction I was telling you about. Pat Williams, yes, the Orlando Magic. They have the #1 pick in the 1992 NBA draft. It's the Bulls over the Knicks in Game 7 from Chicago by 5. And we're back to Marv, Mike, and Magic after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the companies of the Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid: the Prudential.
5 over the Knicks in the 7th and final game. Marv Albert with the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, along with Irvin Magic Johnson. And Mike, I'd have to say that the Knicks must feel fortunate to be trailing by only 5.
Well, no question, when the opponent is shooting the ball as well as Chicago is, and you are not shooting the ball well, you have to make it up in some other areas. New York doing a pretty good job of rebounding the basketball, but to only be 5 points down, I think Riley had to go in and talk about the positives that will take place. And statistically, if we look at some of the players on Chicago, they've really struggled down the stretch in the first 6 basketball games. So we'll wait and see.
And that includes Michael Jordan, who has not done it in the second half. And Magic Michael certainly did it in the first half with 29 points. You were indicating you could see some adjustments by the Knicks on Jordan.
Well, I think what you have to do is you're going to have to run a man at him. You can't let him sit down there and post up on John Starks or Wilkins because he's jumping over him. He's in a rhythm. He's in a groove. Now you must disrupt that rhythm and that groove.
And Gerald Wilkins, who has played it well in the past, is in foul trouble with 3 personals. A look at the shooting in the first half. The Knicks only 17 of 40, 43%. But the Bulls on fire, 22 for 38, 58%. We check out today's Miller Genuine Draft halftime statistics. Knicks have done it on the boards once again with a 22-15 edge. sparked by Charles Oakley, who has been leading the way. Oakley with 7 rebounds in all. Right now, let's go to Ahmad Rashad, who is with New York Knicks coach Pat Riley.
All right, thanks, Marv. Pat, Chicago threw everything at you at the first half. You guys withstood it. You're only 5 points down.
Well, we have to feel like we're in a pretty good position, Ahmad, but if we adhere to our defensive principles this second half and continue to hammer on the board, then I think we got a great shot at this.
All right, good luck to you in the second half, Pat. Thank you. Back to you, Marv.
All right, it is a 5-point differential at halftime. Michael Jordan leading the way with 29. We'll be back in Chicago after these words. This capacity crowd at Chicago Stadium looking to pump up the home team. Patrick Ewing with 14, Mark Jackson with 10, Michael Jordan leading Chicago with 29 points. His high in this series, he had a 37-point game in Game 5. His all-time playoff high, you recall, 63 points. Ewing rebounded by Jordan. Here's Pippen.
That's the one thing that New York has done. Stop the spectacular plays. Stop the dunks that get the crowd excited. Stop the fast break lob passes. Already the first one here in the second half.
Wilkins wide open. Good box out by Grant. Jordan and Paxson at the guards. Grant, Cartwright, and Pippen up front. Bill Jackson with his standard starting lineup. Knicks also go with their usual starting 5. Minute gone by in the third. Paxson played on the switch by McDaniel. Cartwright, foul, it counts.
A few moments ago, Chicago got out early in transition, and these type of plays, a high lob, can get a team excited, a crowd excited. You cannot let Chicago creep away little by little. Cartwright, the concentration, the follow through, and now the opportunity to finish the 3-point play. One more score. Riley takes a quick timeout.
Yeah, you know what drive coaches crazy is? When big men reach in and get fouls like that. That drive coach is crazy.
So Ewing with 2 fouls. Bulls by 9, and they're called for an illegal defense. Called for the first time. Knicks were hit with one earlier.
Scottie Pippen got caught just a little bit down below that foul line area, and the illegal defense was called.
McDaniel rejected by Grant, recovered by Jackson. He checked the 24. Jackson from downtown. Oh, this is a tough call. Hugh Holland's right there. And he says last touch by the Bulls. So the Knicks maintain possession.
You know, sometimes coaches talk about scrambling on defense. Well, right now, the Bulls are scrambling. That means that you're active. That means that you don't really know where you might be on the next pass, but somebody better get there quick and then cover for your teammate if he covers for you. And that's what Chicago's doing so well right now, scrambling and covering for each other.
Xavier McDaniel with 10 points. The Bulls 60 and the Knicks 53.
Well, their rotation is very good. The Chicago Bulls defensive rotation is very good.
Shot clock at 5. Jordan swinging, and it will be Nick Ball. Michael Jordan has missed his last 4 field goal attempts.
We talked about they had to do something different with Michael. They double-teamed him that time, and X-Man made him shoot an air ball. And so you see Riley coming out second half, and a shot by Ewing right there. Good pass by Mark Jackson, too, the seams. But they are changing their defense on him, it looks like.
5-point Chicago lead. And Pippen will inbound. Jordan working off the pick. Oh! And Wilkins able to hustle it down.
To show you the toughness, the mental toughness that this Knicks team has, a lot of teams would have gone away by now. 7th game in the stadium. They make a run early, Chicago, but nope, not New York. Right back here after Ewing knocks out the jumper, the 3, and a timeout call by Chicago.
So the Knicks are within 3. 3 minutes gone by in this third quarter. 6 unanswered by the Knicks.
Fast break transition game, and it starts with defensive rebounding, and once they secure the defensive rebound, the first phase, they call it the attack phase, starts with a good outlet pass. Then they must fill the 3 conventional lanes, 2 sides and the middle, and get the ball centered back up. The next phase they call the storm phase. First big man run down the floor into the paint and post up on ball side looking for a quick score. Then the third phase is their flow. Last big man go opposite and then move into your half-court offense, which we know as Chicago's triangle offense, 2 men opposite. Then they go into their options. This time, flash a high post, backdoor by Jordan, guard around Paxson, knock out the jumper, and it all looks terrific in the transition game. New York has done a pretty good job of eliminating or minimizing those transition scores.
Bulls with a 3-point lead. They've led by as many as 11. Shot clock to 5. Down to 1. Paxson. That's a crusher because the Knicks defensive sequence made it very difficult for the Bulls.
So Pat Riley can live with that. You know, we play excellent defense and made a jumper. So, okay, that's all right.
Ewing rebounded by Pippen. Paxson in the open floor, gives it back. And a foul. Jordan was hit on the drive by Ewing. That's 3 on Ewing.
This is the initial phase, that attack phase of the fast break. Get the ball out in front, get those first 3 people down the floor. Pippen to Paxson to Jordan. The first 3 filling, the foul by Ewing.
Michael Jordan, 9 for 9 from the line, 83% free throw shooter during the season. 30 points for Michael. 4 minutes gone by in the third quarter. 7th and final game of the Eastern Conference Semifinal Series. Series tied at 3. The winner goes on to face the Cleveland Cavaliers in the conference final. The winner there goes to the NBA championship round. Off the double team. Foul call. They tried to trap Jackson and succeeded, but Paxson called for the contact.
And a little different look that time. They waited till New York got over the half-court line. Then they come with a 6'10" power forward to trap Jackson along with Paxson. Not a real clean look that time from Mark Jackson.
And that's 4 fouls on Paxson. Cartwright with a good play. Knicks will inbound with 14 on the 24.
Let's see, Mark Jackson has to take that ball maybe 2 more dribbles down, and then Patrick Ewing would have had a dunk if he could have delivered the ball.
Jackson. McDaniel. And his pass picked off by Grant. Ewing jumping out on Pippen. Left Cartwright open for an instant. Here's Pippen. Bulls have to reset it. He stepped out. It will be New York ball.
New York bouncing right back with another outstanding defensive sequence, producing the turnover, the baseline drive, and the foot touches the line. Great call by Jake O'Donnell.
He's the best in the business, you know, but right now, it's not in the first half and first quarter, we had a real fast pace. And now this pace is the New York pace. It's a slow-down game. There's a lot of turnovers, and it's going to a walk now. And when it goes to a walk, it favors New York. They love this type of pace.
Wilkins able to recover, and he's fouled. Grant going for the rejection. Call for his second.
Gerald Wilkins took a look, saw that lane open up for a second. It's almost like he said, let me hurry up and get to the rim before it closes back down. This is my chance to do what I do best, become a driving, slashing type player.
Gerald Wilkins at the line, shooting 2.
Wilkins making his first appearance at the line. He's hit 2 of 6 from the field. Picked up the early fouls, went to the bench. John Starks came on and played well. Gerald turning it around after the difficult time the first 3 games of the series.
Well, I think what he was a guy worrying about Michael Jordan too much in the first 3 games. In the last 3 games, he was a guy just saying, okay, I know I have to play Michael Jordan, but I'm going to also make Michael play on the offensive end, and that's why his game has escalated.
Actually, over the course of recent seasons, Gerald Wilkins done a decent job against Michael Jordan, and the reason is he's occupied Jordan early in games, and Jordan has had to defend against Wilkins. Here's Pippen with the screen shot, and Ewing had it knocked away. Grant with the steal. Well, Ewing lost it because he was casual with the rebound. Paxson, rare to see him off the dribble, and it's tipped home. Michael Jordan soaring for the tip. He has 32. Bulls lead 65-57. Foul called on Ewing. Offensive foul. That's his 4th.
But a moment ago, this is what got the crowd going. When the shot goes up, Michael Jordan is going to come flying in and tip it and dunk it. You got to keep a body. Then when New York comes back down, Ewing tries to clear space with that arm. Offensive foul call.
Right now, Pat Riley staying with Patrick Ewing. John Starks has replaced Gerald Wilkins. Anthony Mason getting set to come on, so Ewing will sit down. Here's Jordan. What a feed for Grant. But he stepped out. He came from out of bounds, and the basket does not count.
Mar, before that, Michael Jordan was not begging for it, but demanding the basketball, and 2 of his guys did not give him the ball down low on John Starks, and he was upset at them and telling them about it on the way down the court.
Right now, New York is going to go to its baseline screen series. Starks, the 2-man, either screens for McDaniel or for Patrick Ewing when he's in the game. Trying to post up McDaniel initially.
Jordan going for the steal, deflected it out. So Patrick Ewing sitting down after picking up his 4th. Anthony Mason now up front with Charles Oakley and Xavier McDaniel. So Oakley at the center position. Here's Jackson. That was a 3-point attempt. Starks gets it back. Jackson had it knocked away, and he's fouled. If it's Paxson, it's number 5, and it is. 5 fouls committed by John Paxson, and he'll be replaced by B.J. Armstrong.
Marv, this is a critical part of the game for the New York Knicks. Very critical, because Patrick Ewing is down. That's 20-something points on the bench. Now, they're going to have to find out who is going to be the guy to make up those points, who can keep us in the ball game until we can get Patrick back.
Although in this series, when Ewing has been sidelined, the Knicks have done exceptionally well. And a holding foul on the Bulls. That is their 4th team foul, 2nd on Pippen.
X-Man, the guy they're trying to post up, that's the score they want to go to right now. But in the double team, you see the grab of the wrist.
Jordan got a piece of that shot from Starks. Double pump. McDaniel blocked. Here's Oakley. He's blocked and fouled. But you have to like the Chicago defense. 3 blocked shots in that 1 possession.
Boy, you think you got it. Here come Horace Grant. I'm going to block your shot. Here come Oakley. He said, okay, I got it. No, here come Grant again. Boy, this is 7-game playoff basketball at its best right now. Good defense on both sides of the court.
Foul on Pippen. third. Oakley has hit 2 of 2 from the line. Chicago with 6 blocked shots.
You know, most times block shots take place from a defensive player away from the actual ball. It's a guy helping out, a guy rotating over. Not too many times you get a straight-up block on the guy you're guarding. And Chicago, with Grant, Pippen, and Jordan flying all over the court. I mean, when you go up to shoot it, you have to have eyes behind your head before you let it go.
Exactly.
It's the Bulls 65, the Knicks 59. We're just under 5 minutes remaining. Third quarter. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Magic Johnson, and Ahmad Rashad from Chicago. Backdoor pass deflected out by the Knicks.
You know what, Marv? I don't like that with Cartwright going backdoor. Right now, you got Oakley on him. Hey, take Oakley. He's too small to handle Bill Cartwright. Cartwright should be more often-minded. Now they take Cartwright out. Well, now it's an even-Steven game now. So I thought maybe they should have left him in to go at Oakley.
Well, Stacey King has come on for Bill Cartwright. King missed the first 2 games of the series with the flu. Sat out Thursday night with a bad throat. Here's Jordan splitting through. Jordan with the steal. And then it's stolen by Starks. McDaniel chased by Jordan. It's a clean block.
Whose game is it? It's Michael Jordan's game.
And that's why Magic said before he was demanding the basketball from his teammates. He knows right now he's got it. He feels it. He splits the potential trap. And then after scoring, comes right back with a terrific defensive play. Do it all.
Last touch by Starks. That was one of the most remarkable sequences that you will see. Michael Jordan doing it in every phase of the game. First the bucket, then the steal, then he lost it, and then he's able to hustle back and come up with the rejection. Knicks have missed their last 6 field goal attempts. We come up on 4 minutes to go. In the third, Bulls lead 67-59. Shot clock running down. Armstrong hits from downtown. And the Knicks call for time.
Jordan was so good in this series. We got to show you again. First he gets the inbounds pass. Then he starts to dribble. He splits the double team right there. First move. Now he continues for the score. Then he turns around and looks for the basketball. Picks it off like a wide defensive back in football. But loses it. Still hustles back and makes up with effort by preventing the sure layup for the New York Knicks. The 2 days off recharged his battery. His energy level is up.
And Chicago in the midst of a 10-2 run. They go to pressure. Obviously, Pat Riley feels this is the ball game right here. He has sent Patrick Ewing back onto the floor with the 4 fouls.
Yes, this is it. 7th game. This is for everything. I mean, you got to play him right now.
Here's Starks. He was hit by Jordan. Yes, and it counts. And he gets the call on the continuation. So Starks will go to the line. That is the first foul charge to Michael Jordan.
Well, you couldn't ask for anything better. You have to go back with Ewing because the game is on the line now. You win or lose it right here. Then Starks comes out of the timeout. You want a deuce? How about a chance to get 3 if Starks converts the free throw? All of a sudden, the deficit back below double digits once again.
The Knicks had not scored a field goal in 5 minutes and 12 seconds prior to that bucket by John Starks. You recall, in Game 6 Thursday night, the Knicks opening up with a 13-0 run in the 4th quarter against the Bulls. They went 6-10 without scoring at all.
If you're Chicago right now, you got to be saying inside your head, you know what? These guys don't go away. We keep looking up at the board, and they're still there.
Hey, it's a lot of time, a lot of basketball to be played still.
Here's Jordan with the pull-up. Air ball, recovered by Pippen. And Jake O'Donnell, very emphatic about his call, says loose ball foul on Starks. 13th foul committed by the Knicks. For each Knick player, this is clearly the biggest game of their NBA career. For the Bulls, their most significant game since they faced Detroit in Game 7 2 years ago and lost to the Pistons. Pippen had it knocked away by Jackson.
And as soon as Pat Riley saw that Ewing wound up on Pippen, he called for his double-team defense. He had to get the ball out of Pippen's hands, afraid that Ewing would pick up his 5th foul.
Shot clock at 8. Jordan for King. Rebounded by Grant. Yes, and it comes. Horace Grant has come up with a number of enormous baskets.
Well, in the first 6 games, New York did not allow Chicago offensive rebounds. In this game right here, offensive rebound. Here you see Grant coming in strong, and he goes right back up with a nice finger roll move. Got fouled. Strong move by Horace Grant.
Anthony Mason called on the foul. Bulls now lead 72-62, just under 3 minutes remaining. 3rd quarter. Ewing facing the double team. Here starts. Illegal defense called for the 2nd time against Chicago. So the Knicks will go to the line and shoot a technical. Charles Oakley returns for Anthony Mason. Starks to the line. He will shoot the tee. He is 2 of 3 from the foul line. John Starks, a man who played at 4 colleges in 4 years. Back in 88-89, he appeared in 36 games for Golden State, had stints in the CBA and the USBL, emerged last year as a valuable member of the Knicks and has really come on this season.
You know, that sounds like a man who really wanted to play in the NBA to me.
His itinerary very similar to Anthony Mason. Grant with the rejection. For Horace Grant, his 4th block shot. For the Bulls, their 7th rejection for the game. Oh, what a spin by Jordan!
You know, Marv, that time he spun away from the double team, caught Ewing coming at him, and went up underneath. Great move.
Grant with the steal. Michael Jordan with 36. He has shown the way. "20-second timeout called by Scottie Pippen. The Bulls lead it 74-62. Add this to the Michael Jordan.
Well, most of the time he's been coming to the middle. This time he fooled everybody, went baseline, and went up under for 2.
The big thing here is how quickly he has to make a decision. Nobody in the middle. He takes a quick look, then comes back, avoids Ewing rotating over to try and block it, and then has the ability to finish with his left hand. For all the youngsters out there that coaches keep telling you have to learn how to use both hands, that's the reason why. So you can make a Jordan baseline move.
And you wonder what makes a superstar is games like this. Game 7, the biggest game, he comes through big.
Most points scored in a playoff game, Michael Jordan with 63. He did it back in April of '86 against the Boston Celtics. Elgin Baylor had 61 against Boston back in '62. And Jordan also with a 56 and a 55-point game. 36 thus far today. Shot clock running down. Grant had to top it up. Minute 35 to go in the 3rd. The Bulls lead by 12. It represents their biggest lead. Here's Ewing. Rush the shot. And last touch by the Knicks.
You know, Marv, I know he's got to get shots in Ewing, but the team they have out there on the floor for the Bulls, nobody on their team can guard him down low. And if you Pat Riley, you probably like to see him down low right now to take advantage of his height difference over King.
Well, earlier in the series. Pat Riley sent the message he wants Patrick Ewing's head as he put it under the basket. At times he would drift outside. He does have the good touch. But Ewing has settled for jump shots once again and has not been a force in the game this afternoon. He has 18 points, but his presence has not been felt. Pippen with the rebound. 2-on-1. Armstrong for King and the foul.
Well, when they get numbers and get out on the fast break, they have the ability to see, pass, convert, and King, who has been sick, has missed practices, not able to play in the last couple of games, back today, and he's happy about it for sure.
You know, the thing that I see here is that the muscle game, the hard foul game has not occurred today. It hasn't been a factor for the New York Knicks. And with that not being a factor, you can see Chicago is able to play their game with fancy free dunk, a lot of layups.
It's more of the open floor game that the Bulls love to play. Patrick Ewing cuts it to a 77-64 Chicago lead. Getting back to the subject of Stacey King, he has been very effective when he's played the Knicks. Earlier this year, when Bill Cartwright was out with a broken left hand, King started at center against the Knicks and did very well. He gives Chicago a different dimension at center. Shot clock at 2, down to 1. Armstrong. Oh, another big bucket for B.J. Armstrong. 3 seconds to go. Third quarter. Starks gets it down. Wilkins gets it off. After 3 in Chicago, led by Michael Jordan, who has scored 36. The Bulls with their biggest lead, not only of the game, but of this series. Bulls 79, the Knicks 64. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station. Well, earlier today, as seen on NBC, the Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the Boston Celtics 122-104, led by Brad Daugherty at 27 points, 9 rebounds. So they win that game, series in 7. And they'll face the winner between the Knicks and Chicago in the NBA draft lottery earlier today. Orlando won the #1 selection, followed by Charlotte, Minnesota, and then Dallas and Denver, and so on. But Pat Williams and Orlando just delighted as they came up with the #1 selection in the lottery. It is a 15-point Chicago lead as we open up in this fourth quarter. Foul committed by John Starks, his 4th. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, Marv, just some comments from Shaquille O'Neal. He watched the draft lottery with his agent in Brentwood. He was calm throughout the whole thing, and when the announcement came, he had a smile because his former LSU teammate Stanley Roberts plays there. He's relieved that it's over, and he was flattered by the comments made by Pat Williams of the Magic, and he views the organization as a classy one. Marv?
All right, Ahmad. Yes, I would think he does view it as a very classy organization with a very nice contract to follow. Here's Jordan, and he's stopped. He thought he was fouled. Knicks on a rare fast break, but the Bulls got back. Here's Ewing over King. Yes.
Marv, that's what I was talking about. You got to go to that matchup right now for New York. If they're going to get back in this game, Patrick Ewing is going to be the man who's going to lead them back.
And the other thing, Matt, in the third quarter, when you talk about points in the paint down low, Chicago 14, New York only 6.
And the Knicks with only 13 points in the third quarter. They were outscored 23-13. Oakley called for his 2nd foul. Chicago ended the third quarter outscoring the Knicks by the margin of 19-7.
And Chicago ending the third quarter with 79 points, their highest previous total at the end of three quarters twice. They've had 71 in this series against New York. So being 8 up on that, it looked like Chicago was playing its style and more up-tempo game.
Not to get off the basketball game here, though, I wonder how Shaquille going to feel when he asks for the $5 million. Is he going to still feel that Orlando is a classy organization?
I mean, when they say no?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Bulls 81 and the Knicks 66.
The new arena is under construction to increase the seating capacity to be able to pay that.
Knicks in a three-guard alignment. Ewing bottled up. The defensive job of Horace Grant, very much a major part of the success story for the Bulls here this afternoon. And now a foul called on the Bulls.
You know, what happens is right here, Horace Grant went up to block the shot. Ewing went to pass it, and he knocked it away from him. You know, some guys' games are measured by points or stats. Horace Grant game cannot be measured by stats or points.
And there's one guy I know who's particularly happy with the performance. That's Johnny Bach, assistant coach with Chicago, who was in the hospital. Just had an angioplasty done a couple days ago. Feeling better. I spoke with him last night, and Grant is his personal, that's his guy. That's his warrior, he calls him. He's taking him under his wing and pays extra special attention to him.
Yes, Johnny Bach and Horace Grant have had a very close relationship over the years. Patrick Ewing only 8 for 20 from the field, not getting quality shots in the second half. Wilkins with the box out. Starks, Wilkins, and now Anthony in the three-guard setup. McDaniel and King with the rebound.
King, a good job of boxing out on the defensive board. Ewing had no chance at all of getting to it, so he just had to turn, run back down the other end.
Riley very upset. He felt there should have been a charge on Pippen. That was one of those no harm, no foul calls as Ewing tried to pick up the foul against Pippen, and no call was made.
And I think Pat's point there is, look, we've heard about all this complaining about the hard fouls that we take. When we play good defense, don't try to hurt anybody, step in and take a charge, then call it.
Genuine Draft presents Genuine Memories.
Guys standing right over him.
Well, today's Miller Genuine Draft Genuine Memory takes us back to Game 5 of the 1970 NBA Championship Series. Knicks captain Willis Reed went down with the injured hip. Willis missed Game 6, but heroically came back in Game 7, leading the Knicks to the championship against the Los Angeles Lakers at Madison Square Garden. Reed came out, hit those two early inspirational jump shots, played briefly, but it turned out that was enough. And in recognition of this memorable moment, Miller Genuine Draft donates $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. 3 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. The Bulls lead 83-66. The pass could not be handled by Ewing. Craig Hodges has checked back in, as has Scott Williams, and the Bulls go with a three-guard alignment.
Yeah, New York now understanding that the clock is against them. They need points on the board. They got a small team in there trying to force some turnovers, get some quickness on the floor, and get down and get some shots up.
Foul on Xavier McDaniel. A reminder, tonight, it's an all-new special 2-hour edition of Unsolved Mystery. UFOs, ghosts, murder mysteries, and then NBC brings you a motion picture event based on the #1 bestseller, Fooled Out, starring Ed Asner, Blythe Danner, Dennis Farina. That's coming your way tonight here on NBC. Michael Jordan with 40 points. The Bulls lead 85-66, and a blocking foul charge to Armstrong.
This has probably been his easiest 40 points that he has gotten probably against the Knicks. His shots have come in different ways, drive, but most of them have come in posting up, turning in the lane, and beating his man. So Michael Jordan is really on top of his game, and I thought he would be.
Oh, what a shot by John Starks. Off balance, able to hit. Starks with 13. Bulls lead 85-68.
Has all the talk about Starks, where he should have been ejected for the foul against Pippen in the last game, has that taken the edge off of New York's defense? Have they not delivered some of the blows that they did in the first 6 games?
I think all the talk in the paper, you know, everybody now coming here to Chicago saying that it's football, it's this and that. And I think they came out maybe thinking, well, we better not get into that type of game. But see, that was the wrong attitude, because you played a game that has got you this far. And today they didn't play that type of game, because Michael's had, what, 6 or 7 layups today.
This game has seen only one rough moment. Foul given by Wilkins off that spin by Jordan. We did have the double technical on McDaniel and Jordan earlier. Both teams came together, but that basically has been it. As you mentioned, there really haven't been any severe fouls that have been given up.
You know, as you watch what's taking place out here today, we've heard about the beautiful flow and movement of the Chicago offense, and then last year we used to hear about how the LA Laker offense was so stagnant. It was just magic going down and making decisions. Well, I see Jordan down there making a lot of decisions. It looks kind of similar.
Bill Cartwright extending to an 87-68 lead. 7:20 remaining in the 4th quarter. Wilkins, and the foul, a hold on Jordan, who does not like the call.
Well, he felt that Ewing grabbed him instead of like the referee thought that he grabbed Ewing. Here it is right here. See, Ewing grabbed Michael in the back of the jersey and said, get out of here. You don't belong down here with the big men.
And let's remember, Michael does have 1 technical on him already. The next one, he's in the locker room early.
I don't think today.
You think they maybe remember that, right?
Oh, Armstrong and Starks want to go at each other. B.J. Armstrong pointing in the direction of John Starks. That's number 5 on Starks. Now here's how this developed. Let's take a look.
B.J. trying to take away the path under the basket, so Starks changes direction and throws B.J. down to the floor. You know what? Everybody wants to pick on B.J. He looks like he's 12 years old out there on the floor.
I asked Scottie Pippen before the game, would he attempt to deal a payback to Starks for that flagrant foul the other day. Hawkins with a 2-pointer, and the Bulls just rolling it up. Well, Pippen said he would not get involved early, but if it's a blowout, he said he might be looking for Starks. 6:48 remaining in the 4th. Well, the Israel sellout crowd here at Chicago Stadium, including Jack Nicholson. I guess he wanted to see a big ball game, making the trip from Los Angeles.
No, he's here finishing up the Jimmy Hoffa story.
That's what I said. I guess he had a movie locally, and he wanted to see a big ball game.
I wonder if he'd give Coach Fratello a part in that new movie.
What
part would you like him to give it?
Is it a monster movie? Starks not able to hit. Rebounded by Cartwright. The Knicks with only 17 points in the second half. They had 13 in the 3rd quarter. 6:25 remaining in the 4th. The Cleveland Cavaliers waiting in the wings after beating Boston earlier today off the strip. Able to get it down. Here's Wilkins. That's a 2-point shot for Gerald Wilkins. It's put on the line. Michael Jordan indicating, let's settle down here. Big lead, but you never know. It's a 19-point advantage, but much time remaining. Backdoor pass for Grant. Well, this time it worked.
Well, you still have to be on the attack mode. That's what Michael is saying. Let's slow it down, but we still got to attack. You know, I think the Chicago Bulls want to blow them out to just prove a point to the New York Knicks.
And also perhaps to the rest of the NBA looking on and seeing that the Bulls could be vulnerable after they have been extended to 7 games by the Knicks.
I think that teams feel a little better now, like Cleveland. I feel better playing against them now. But, you know, Cleveland don't have the personnel to play the same type of game as the New York, but they have better offensive players.
Armstrong off the break. So the Bulls open up a 93-70 lead as we come up on 5 minutes remaining, 4th quarter.
It's got to be one of the worst feelings when you know it's bad and it's getting worse and there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Foul committed by Jordan. And Mark Jackson returns, replacing Greg Anthony.
Well, how many times in this series have you seen the Chicago Bulls run out this easy and not be contested on layups? And not too often.
Well, the biggest game, the most important game, it just hasn't happened for the Knicks in terms of fouls and what the Knicks did to the Bulls have done to the Knicks today. Team defense, they've rebounded the ball, and they gotten some easy layups because of those 2 factors.
And Michael Jordan came out asserting himself. The Bulls shooting just under 59% for the game. The crowd bidding the Knicks goodbye with 4:55 remaining in the 4th quarter, and the foul called on the Knicks. It's called on Ewing. That is his 5th. Horace Grant will go to the line. Horace Grant in his 5th season out of Clemson, usually among the leaders in shooting percentage, and has come up with a very strong performance. See the Band-Aid, that is the result of one of many Knick blows that were dealt during the course of this series.
Well, at 4 different times during this 7-game series, the game has had to been stopped by the officials because one of the Bulls players, and it's been 4 different ones, have been cut, an open wound. They had to stop the game.
Starks from downtown, and Armstrong gets to it. 4.5 remaining in this 4th quarter. Knicks shooting only 38% this afternoon. Pippen hacked by Wilkins.
Well, first of all, Michael Jordan with the cotton trying to stop his bloodied nose, and then Pippen was cut across the chin, so they had to get him straightened out. And then the cut on the back of John Paxson's arm, and then Grant showing the doc that, look, I'm scratched and it's bleeding over here. I mean, Chip Schaefer could come away with the big trophy at the end of this series for the most valuable person.
They were not only be happy that the New York Knicks are gone, but they will welcome a good night's sleep finally because they haven't been sleeping good because they thought this was going to be an easy series, and it's turned out to be opposite that.
They may wake up once or twice or one more night just thinking they got to face him again.
Well, a Knick victory over Chicago in this series would have ranked as McDaniel hits on the reverse stuff, and here's it from the crowd. Had the Knicks been able to pull off the upset, it would have ranked arguably as the biggest upset in NBA playoff history. The reason that this is a Knick club that won 51 games, but a Knick team that faltered in the final weeks. They blew the Atlantic Division by losing 5 of the last 8 games, so Boston was able to win it. They were red hot at the end. They had very few wins over the elite teams. They were dominated by the likes of Chicago and Cleveland and Boston. McDaniel was fouled. And they face a defending champion Chicago Bulls team that had gone 67-15. They'd roared through the regular season.
But you know what, Marv, no matter what has happened here today, they have a lot to build on the Knicks for next season. Pat Riley and his whole staff, as well as the players, can feel happy about being here in a 7th game. They've gotten New York City back in the New York Knicks once again, and so this has been great for them. This is really their season right now.
What they've done, Riley, the staff, the players, and upper management, they've restored law and order, and the franchise is definitely now back heading in the positive direction that they all understand. You need to have that same common goal and interest type of thing to make it work and ultimately reach the championship, and that's what it's all about.
And I think that the Knicks staff, headed by New York Knicks president Dave Checketts, well aware that there are still moves that have to be made. I don't think they fooled themselves by the fact that the Knicks knocked off Detroit. They take Chicago to a 7th game. They know there is a dire need for outside shooting. Jordan. And the call is last touch by the Knicks. You know, there's one stretch this season with the Knicks chugging along on top of the Atlantic Division that if you put Pat Riley or Dave Checketts or Ernie Grunfeld of the Knicks staff, there's Jordan. Michael Jordan with 42 points. If you put them on truth serum, they would say that aside from Patrick Ewing, they would trade that night the rest of the starting team. That's how far this club has come, and that really represents. Starks hits the three-pointer. What a remarkable job was accomplished by Pat Riley.
No, what's remarkable to me is that you know the effects of this truth serum and what it would do to these individuals to make a statement like that they're going to trade the other 11 guys from this team. That's what's amazing to me. Remarkable.
No, I didn't say 11. I said the other starters.
Oh, starters.
You know, when you have the magic elixir, you can do anything.
Well, talent-wise, you know, they didn't win these 3 games against the Bulls on talent. They won it on hustle, heart, and hard play. That's how they won the 3 games. And so what the Knicks saying, hey, we need some more skilled players, a shooter, maybe a guy that can go one-on-one. And if they get those guys, everybody in the East better watch out.
And this crowd providing a standing ovation for the Chicago. Fast here in Chicago, doesn't it? Benny the Bull right on the scene. Well, Chicago will move on to face Cleveland for the Eastern Conference Final. And over the regular season, the Bulls did take 3 out of 5. However, that last meeting, April 14th, at Cleveland Cavaliers won by 15, but Michael Jordan was sidelined by injury.
And if you want to talk about that last game and the other games, Michael Jordan is averaging over 40 points against the Cleveland Cavaliers during the regular season. And so if you say 115 to 100 and add 40 points, that's 140. So it would have been 5-0. So that's Cleveland's main problem is Michael Jordan.
Here's Grant. Shot clock running down. It's a one count, 24-second violation. I guess Michael doesn't look worn down. That was the feeling coming into today's game, but he has erupted, as has Scottie Pippen, who has come up with a triple-double, 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. Armstrong. E.J. Armstrong has been a major factor. Michael Jordan sitting it out the rest of the way, finishes with 42 points on 15 of 29 from the floor. So the Bulls blowing out the Knicks to win game number 7. We're down to 1:28 remaining in the 4th quarter. A reminder tonight, right here on NBC, it's All Real Mystery Night. First, a special new 2-hour edition of Unsolved Mysteries, and then a world premiere event ruled out based on the true story of a shocking family murder. The book, the current #1 bestseller. That's tonight, right here on NBC. Crowd applauding the efforts of Horace Grant. 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 block shots.
My question right now is, Jordan's out, Grant's out. With Pippen's ankle the way it is, I don't take a chance right now. Pippen's on the bench. This game is over. Long way to go yet for another championship. Get him out of the game before something happens that shouldn't happen.
This is still a bitter rivalry, and if he goes to the basket or something, they're going to still slam him to the ground. I'm with you on that one, because you remember, you got one day in between the game. Tuesday comes in 2 days, so get him on the bench. And the game is over, and you had a good night. And I don't know if he's trying to save him for an ovation or what, but he should be on the bench right now.
And it is another standing ovation for the Chicago Bulls. 33 seconds remaining. Start. Call for the foul.
You know, we've paid tribute to the New York Knicks and Pat Riley and the job they've done, and they've established it with rebounding and great defense. But let's not forget this Chicago Bulls team, and all we talked about last year on the way to the finals and the championship was this great defense that they had, this scrambling, pressing, trapping defense that forced turnovers and then easy scores. And 79 points on the board right now for New York. I think they made a defensive statement today.
Well, what they found out in this series is that winning back-to-back is not going to be easy for them. This is a 7-game series. The next series might be 7, and whoever they play in the finals is going to give them all they want to if they get that far. So what all this is going to make them is a stronger team, I believe, in the next round against Cleveland. So, yes, our hats go off to the Chicago Bulls on a game where they needed their stars. Pippen and Jordan came through, but I think the unsung hero here was Grant. He did all the little things, all the nasty things that go unwritten about.
Bernard Winchester hitting that jump shot for the Knicks to make it 106-81, and the Bulls just running it down as they hear it from the crowd. A three-pointer to conclude matters. Bulls 109, Knicks 81. And players come together here in the final seconds. Only 0.8 of a second remain. And Livingston to the line.
This is something here. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in this series next season, because it's going to be a war in the regular season with these two teams. You know, I wonder if Oakley and Jordan going to be his closest friends in the summertime after this series.
Well, the two teams do shake hands as they head back to their respective locker rooms. The Chicago Bulls have defeated the New York Knicks 110-81 to take this grueling series in 7. The Bulls move on to face the Cavaliers. The series beginning here in Chicago on Tuesday. We'll be right back. Bulls over the Knicks in Game 7, 110-81. Michael Jordan leading the way with 42. Let's go to Ahmad with Michael.
All right, Michael, a lot of people had talked about coming in this game that you were tired, you got wore down in the fourth quarter. Obviously, that wasn't the case today.
Well, I think the day off really helped us mentally. You know, we've been thinking basketball every day, and then Phil gave us a day off, and everybody got away from basketball and got ourselves back together mentally, and, you know, it really helped. You saw it today.
I think mentally you guys got a shot in the arm, because coming into the series, you maybe thought you were going to get by New York pretty easy, and they pretty much woke you up.
You got to give this New York team credit, man. They pushed us to the limits. They really played extremely well.
All right, congratulations on the next round.
Thanks.
All right.
And next for Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Game 1 of that best of 7, beginning here in Chicago on Tuesday. We'll be right back.